Hello on YouTube, or on Twitch. Welcome to another episode of my Hearthstone Let's Play series. This is Northstar. I hope you're well, taking care of each other and being kind to yourselves. For those new to my channel, welcome. Returning viewers, welcome back. So apparently there's these campaigns you watch on Hearthstone, you get packs. And watching my own stream, as you know, I need to do anyways, for monitoring the chat, as apparently counts. So I've been earning these packs, just doing what I'm doing to try and build my channel to where I can someday monetize it with like the YouTube Partners Program, Twitch Partners Program, if I can ever get big enough. That's cool. It means a number of packs. Might have been nice to know I had those before. Might have given me a snowball's chance. On the pre-retirement ball, I'll only get one Pleasant pack. I thought it'd give me more, but I guess it's didn't start earning those. But a number of across the timelines, and they probably had something expired before. I didn't know it was doing this. It's probably been doing it for a while. I'll have to check that periodically from now on. Alright. Cataclysm. Armored Bloodletter. Rush. Battlecry. Herald. Azara. I really do dislike that it expects you to have memorized what the different Herald things do. Otherwise, you have to keep looking back. Like, okay, when summoned, give your hero +1 attack this turn. Herald twice to upgrade. So it's a soldier that gives extra attack to the demon hunter. I guess that fits with it. It's not terrible value. It's basically deal 3 damage and get a 1/1. But gets better with lots of heralds. This is another thing to encourage you to buy tons of packs. Or do lots of arena tickets, which people might also buy with real life money. Cursed Chains. Take control of an enemy minion until the end of their turn. It can't attack this turn. So this is more like something you'd use on taunt minions or something. Or for power. So it doesn't... You can't then trade it like you could Potion of Madness to kill it, basically. Chow Down. Summon 5/4 undead drakes. Spend 8 corpses to give them rush. Very good if it can last long enough. Sheltered Survivor. Battlecry. Choose a card in your hand to shuffle into your deck. Draw a card. So, something in your hand, swap it out. And Stormbinder. Unlock your overloaded mana crystals. And now overloads 3. Some of them are certainly thematic. Undefeated Champion. Rush Battlecry. Fill your opponent's board with random 1-cost minions. That could block them from playing anything good. Or if they have really full board, it's not a bad minion. Herald Protector. I've seen that. Dangerous variant. Wizened True Seeker. Set the cost of every card in both players' hands back to the original. It's been reducing. And stack Shock. Give 1 damage to your minion. Give your hero +1 attack this turn. Deal 1 damage to a minion. That can eliminate 1 health enemies, and it costs 0, and yeah, it's not a bad card. It's too much to sit here and memorize all these things and come back to them. Sometimes I see something, oh, I'm going to go edit a deck right away. Other times I come back to a deck and see what's listed as new. Soldier of the Infinite. Rush Battlecry doubles means attack, so it's like a 6/5 or better if it was upgradable on hand. Tachyon Barrage. Deal 6 damage, but among all enemies, shuffle 2 shards at a time into your deck. Another stack. Shock, a Neon Innovation. Discover a Paladin mech from the past. Give it +5/+5. Ooh, that's pretty good. I don't know what... I'd have to memorize what all the Paladin mechs are. And Living Paradox. 3 elusive 2/1s, basically. Sometimes you can do things like the Battlecry summon more times. Trigger more times. Hourglass Attendant. Yeah, just saw that. Alter Time. Flames of Infinity. Temporal Traveler. Summon a random... Summon a 4/1 shadow that attacks a random enemy minion. As a death rattle. That's after you lose the 4/1 to begin with. Can be good later when there's lots of big minions. Time Machine. Right. Yeah, so I try and chat and talk about things that matter in the real world, like honestly, politics and economics. Sometimes when I do my streams, I hope that doesn't annoy you folks. Nobody's objected to it, but that's just mostly because people just pop in and out of streams and they don't say anything, or they just say, hey, seen the chat, gone. I mean, I get it. People come to small streams because they want to interact personally. But I spend so long with just like one viewer on Twitch. And people don't go over to my YouTube where I can see comments later when I'm not focused on playing and winning, maybe. Figuring that if I can progress and better cards, it'll be more interesting to watch in the future. Fate, plus I have trouble multitasking on COVID. Fatebreaker. Lifesteal, Battlecry, cast a shard of time from your deck. In +3/+3. Yeah, I remember that. It's not terrible. You just have to take a little face damage as Warlock. Not out of character for it, and hopefully you built cards in to compensate here and there. Ticking Time Bomb, Death Rattle, destroy an enemy minion. For glory, draw 2 cards. Costs 1 less for each minion your opponent controls. Can be good. Often you get card draw that when you're behind. Yeah. Timeless Causality. Battlecry, reverse the order of your deck. Useful if you just dredged. Particularly, you dredge, you draw the thing you brought to the top, then you know what the other ones are. Other cards are at the bottom of your deck, and yeah. Aeon Rend. I can't even really dredge enough to even be completely familiar with, have that memorized how that works. But yeah, these things, they matter, and I can work them into some games, like I play Hearthstone 4, and I talk about World War II history, like the Raid 1944 Democratic Party Convention. But yeah, we're gonna have a world where people look out for each other, and people aren't just relegated to misery and death. Maybe quite literally in my case. I have a roommate who is threatening to kill me, and I can't just afford to go elsewhere because the US government has just pushed what's basically austerity to the point where I got cheated out of SSDI because of rules right in the mid-90s by Newt Gingrich that made it harder to get the work credits for it, such as not being able to get work credits working for a university while you're a student there, even though the same jobs earn work credits if you're not a student there. And rules that have always been problematic, like if you work 2 jobs, you can't get more work credits, but if you have a gap in employment, say after college, you won't get any work credits during that gap in employment, but you won't get more in your second job either, even though you may work the same number of hours as someone who has more steady employment. So as employment's become less steady in the modern era, this punishes people for changes in the economy, the global economy, that they had no control over. It's not a new graduate's fault, especially when you studied something useful, like biology, like I did, what the situation in the world economy is, or in my case, the family reneged on helping me move to other jobs in my field, what was left. But then I wouldn't necessarily be able to get my foot in the door even then. It's getting harder and harder. And they would rather take people from Asia with a biology degree. They figure they can work harder. You know, I'd work just as hard as them. With the same pay, I'm willing to compete, but they're not even going to give you the option. There's kind of an automatic reverse racism there. It's not actually, it's a racism. It's not reverse racism. They're discriminating against these people by assuming they'll work for less. It's not really reverse racism. That's just plain old racism. Flashback, summon, and stereotypes based on country people come from, and exploitative behavior, which exploitation lies at the core of capitalism. It's not free markets. Anytime you hear free markets, I want you to do this, viewers. Substitute the word propaganda, or just think lies and propaganda every time you hear that word, because it is a made-up, bogus term that's only intended to get you to associate warm, fuzzy feelings, because people like freedom. So free markets. What they mean is markets devoid of regulation, markets devoid of control, markets devoid of any public ownership. You can think of it as a complete synonym: unregulated, privately owned markets, or winner-take-all markets, or markets run only for the benefit of the very few with wealth. There are lots of other ways to describe it, and some catchier than others. But free market is just a propaganda term that only really was popularized to a large degree with monsters like Mises from Austria. Not far before the Nazis took over Austria, by the way, in the 1930s. The Austrians were annexed by the Nazis so easy, not because the Nazis came in as big predators, but because there was a lot of fascist support in Austria. In fact, Austria was ruled by a fascist regime, the Austro-fascists, who, though they didn't like Nazis, ideologically they weren't all that different. So a rival fascist regime, which made it right for the Nazis. And then their leaders said, "Oh, we'll resist the Nazis, take over," and then they just just turned around and lied about that, because fascists always lied and sold out for positions of power in the Nazi regime. Their leadership, because they were both fascists, so they didn't see that much different, really, their leaders. Flashback, summon 2 random 1-cost minions from the past. If you played Hearts Iron, you know more on that event, or if you're a history buff. But yeah, it says something about the fact that Mises and those neoliberals came out of Austria right before the Nazis took over. It says something. The context matters. There's a reason they came from that, because that was the most psychopathic, completely amoral culture, where rich, only the interests of the rich matter. And when Austria had people who tried to look out after each other, and so-called Right of Vienna, when socialists took charge in Vienna and rebuilt the city that had been destroyed by World War I, so that everyone had housing and there were no homeless people, was the goal. It didn't quite get there, but they were building massive public housing projects that are still used to this day, because they're very nice, not like the garbage quality public housing in the US. The Austro-fascists, from basically, if you were thinking American terms, redder, but more conservative parts of Austria, came in, marched in with soldiers, and basically overthrew the elected government of Vienna, the capital. It would kind of, the closest parallel would be of New York City, of Mandani, if Trump marched in with troops, except New York City is not the capital of the United States, even though it's the most important city in the country. In most countries, New York City would be the capital. And so the Red Vienna Project was overthrown by a violent force. That's just to give you an idea of the culture that existed, that people like Mises did their writing, and they're monsters. They should absolutely be suppressed. Oh, speech is free. Yeah, no, not effectively. The powerful, rich people always find a way to suppress the speech of the left, but we're not allowed to suppress the speech of these monsters who are creating toxic, psychopathic ideologies that result in homelessness and death. I mean, honestly, these libertarian things should be considered advocating for terrorism. They're about on that level. That's why we have so many homeless people. is because of these ideologies. They're ideologies of winner take all, and if you can't cut it, you're not a human being. You don't deserve to live. It's a little bit of exaggeration, but not much. These are libertarians are just. Flashback. Summon 2 random 1-cost minions from the past. Combo with +1 attack and Primordial Overseer if you cast a nature spell while holding this. Gain +1/+1 and draw a card. I've seen this a few times. I even have one in already, which makes it less useful. Seems to like to give me duplicates a lot. On Flashback was not a new card because it's time themed, so it's across the timeways. Alright. Sorry, that was a bit of a rant, but I'm trying to make a point. These things matter. You can't ignore them. You can't just be like, oh, politics stinks and I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to learn about it. I want to think about it. People live and die by these things. I may be dead soon because my psycho roommate will kill me and I can't afford to go somewhere cheaper because the government's fighting my Social Security in bad faith. SSI application. They cheat me out of SSDI.
Versus the Lich King!
And I don't know if I'm going to be able to win it. And I probably will, according to spill lawyers, but I don't trust these people because lawyers in the US are notorious liars. They say I'll win, but I don't believe them.
True king.
And that the police are not doing anything about this guy, and partly it's because of the racism of the Republican Party in the United States, and therefore Democrats are able to, and this is Democratic City, are able to exploit fears of that racism, which is very real. And in this case, in order to make sure they get the minority vote, they won't crack down the whip on somebody who's threatening murder. There's also a fact this guy's ex-wife works at the courthouse, so he's got connections, and he is of a minority that, for political reasons, is important. Now, racism is a huge problem, and people need to be protected from it. But not doing anything about someone repeatedly threatening to kill someone is not the way to do that. It is just corrupt scumbag politicians just doing what's easiest, pressuring the courts not to crack down on any crimes committed by this community. Because, well, the police often are racist in many places, so but in this case, it wouldn't be racist to do something with the guy threatening to kill me. And so I may go back to my apartment this month in like less than 3 weeks. And I end up dying in a pool of my own blood because the guy, stabs me. He's the sort who's likely to shank someone. Coming out of the bathroom or something. Just come up behind me, stick a knife in my kidneys, and I'll be dead. And bleed out real fast. It was an EMT I do know a little about. Alright, I should have done this earlier. Good cards temper. This gives me options, I suppose. 3 minions of different minion types. It draws from my deck, so not generate new. Of course, he had another draw, so that was no flukes. Now I have to leave the numbers or it'll get out of hand. Very, very fast. Never design cards when you're hungry. Let's see, I have Dragon, Undead, and Beast, mainly. I don't have many Beast. Mostly Undead. I do have a Dragon. This is a demon, technically. And this is elemental. Shoot.
Death calls.
I need some value, I need it fast. So I won't get it. This guy has gotten ridiculous lucky. One drop 6. Oh, that would put him on his back foot. So would it 2-4? It would. Yeah, this would be 2 drop. This is the only thing that has a chance to give me the value I need.
I have but little time. I've got to find the way out.
He'll attack that, probably. Otherwise, I'll make up this health gap pretty quick. And if I'm lucky, I'll get something that's worthwhile. And if I'm unlucky, I won't. But the odds are too much against me if I don't take a chance. He'd always have to roll the dice with this. I have bad luck. Others have good luck. I got disabled on COVID. I was on the verge of entering an MD program. I was already in a medical school and a master's, but special masters. But I can't imagine worse luck than that, really. My dream snatched me at the very last minute. Not even early, where I didn't invest that much, but the very last minute after an incredibly long, like more than 10 years struggle that most people have given up ages ago, and I was finally going to make it. When everyone would be like, you never make it, and it became clear I was going to make it, because I had straight A's in my special masters. People that were sure I'd make it, and then the only thing that could happen to ruin that did. I got very sick. Alright.
Death calls.
You know you want to trade. And if you don't,
Let me out! Can't carry!
well, too bad. Of course, I'll end up burning a card now, but I think he doesn't know what his own cards do. Huh. Okay. I can work that.
Little time. Join me in my eternal prison.
Great.
My hand is full. Death calls.
Let's see what I get here. Ooh.
Arms up!
kidding me.
Nothing gets
Garbage and luck.
We hunger for vengeance.
State your business with the brawl.
Nice.
I have but little time.
It's gonna be able to boil them on carpet. And the warden definitely helps.
Join me in my eternal prison.
We're gonna reach, great.
Wormhole.
Sword in the shadows.
Great.
I have but little time. Yeah. Despair! Delicious! I have but little time. Death calls. to serve your king. Little Shadow Strike. Join me in my eternal prison.
Could play another one of those for 0,
Defile the dead.
I suppose.
Join them.
All are nourished when the cycle renews.
Pleasure of both you.
Yeah, I do need to consider removing Feature of Madness from some decks because they did nerf it. Consider, not necessarily do.
How long have I been here? You are prepared for the wars to come.
Just to show I could have done this before.
Join me in my eternal prison.
Place
My hand is
battle cry minions.
Shadow Strike. Soul Suture.
Should have actually been able to get that out before, make it harder for me to stop lethal. Glad that I beat that guy. Faced him multiple times. I don't like the naming. Demon? Like demon? I hate it when people embrace being evil in their usernames. Whatever. Beat him down. Victory's a victory. Look at Creature Madness. I think it's here, right? The 2-drop. With that. Could consider replacing this. Crystal Tender. Hands off my attendees? What? Gain empty mana crystals. All players have the same mana. How does that work? Is that... I mean, they have... If they didn't play mana on their last turn, is that what that does? They have some unspent crystals? Reduce the cost of minion in your opponent's hand by 2. Wow, this flower's mouth is perfectly head-shaped. Try doing the Crystal Tender. Do the Rock Skipper. For 3 mana, I get a 1/3 and deal 3 damage. Not terrible. No reason that that's been used so often. Holy Egg Breaker. If this goes poorly, there's always a job at the Holy Breakfast, Chef. Holy Egg Bear, not Egg Breaker. I'm curious to see how Crystal Tender works. It might be terrible. Let me just see real quick. What the wiki has to say, and I can read it off to you guys, because maybe some of you are curious too. This only works on empty mana crystals, really. Just gets make sure to counter to Drew decks that during mana crystals. Like Overgrowth. Okay, so it's not filled mana crystals. I see. Not going to show what the power is for which class here. This is the rogue one, I remember. This is the Death Knight. It's the dragon. It wasn't the moon or the wind. It wasn't the hunter. Might have been Blessings of the Dragon. I don't know. Get on. I haven't done enough with it. Starts dormant after you use your hero power. This awakens. If you use a hero power a lot, which I sort of do as a paladin. Or Ancient Raptor. Flexible. Is it really better than a Creature of Madness? His base worth spark off to think about this. Alright, well, anyways. Some improvement will probably need to my aura, probably. That was the one that I had to use to Creature Madness melee. Till next time, I wish you all the best, my viewers. Take care of each other, be kind to yourselves, and may you always find a guiding star to lead you home. This is Northstar. Do best luck to you all.